We say thank you for our invitation uh, to opportunity. But I read the book of the English ship Westmoreland in Mexico. In the year of 1779, during the journey from the port of Livorno, Italy to London, the English ship Westmoreland was captured by two French vessels. From their cargo made up of 57 crates, we have identified 11 books that were originally traveled on the English ship and arrived of the librarian on the Royal Academy of the Three Noble Arts on San Carlos in New Spain. Considered of the first of the American continent dedicated to art and was initially formed by collection of sculptures, coins, prints, and books sent from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts of San Fernando in Madrid. The person in charge of establishing the institution in New Spain was Jerónimo Antonio Gil, an engraver for the Royal Academy of San Fernando, appointed by King Charles III to head the Royal Mint of New Spain with the goal of improving coinage and designs. Founded in 1785, the Academy of San Carlos has history spanning 2.5 centuries. While its name and nature have evolved over time, it has retained its original location and much of the foundation collection. Between 1778 and 1783, the Anglo-French War was underway. During this period, on January 7, 1779, the English ship Westmoreland was seized. It carried a rich cargo and was acquired by English and Scottish aristocratic travellers who, during their grand tour, had purchased sculptures, painters, marbles, prints, books, and other luxurious items. The captured ship was escorted to Malaga, where a new journey began, as much of the love as acquired by the Spanish crown. The capture of the Westmoreland occurred at the height of the Grand Tour era. The seized items are a clear representation of the types of goods acquired in Latin lands, and the individuals who undertook such journey, revealing their interests, social status, and in some cases, their standing at the English court. Notably, among them was William Henry, Duque de Gloucester, 1743-1800, brother of King George III. 5 years after the ship's capture, some crates arrived at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts on San Fernando in Madrid. Most of the books remain in its library and can be identified by the initials PY. Presa inglesa o English price. Handwriting in ink, like Louisville librarian Pascual Colomber, who recorded this notation in 1792 inventory. The trajectory of the Westmoreland books from Italy to Spain, across the Atlantic Ocean, and eventually to Mexico City in 1790 and 1791 is documented in recording preserved in several archives. One, the General Archive in the Indies in Seville. Two, the Archive of the Royal Academy of Fine Arts of San Fernando in Madrid. Three, the Historical Archive of the Faculty of Architecture, which holds the archive of the Royal Academy of the Three Noble Arts on San Carlos in Mexico. 4. The National General Archive in Mexico. During the years 24 and 25, as part of the university project Origins of the Collection of the former Academy of San Carlos in Mexico, Documentation, provenance, and digitation. We identify a group of books that were part of the Westmoreland's cargo. These works provide valuable information about the cities in which they were published, the topics they cover, the authors, and their material characteristic. One pieces of evidence and confused material were gathered at the request of Jerónimo Antonio Gil is the presence of duplicate works found about the Westmoreland. On November 18, 1790, the first shipment consisting of plaster casts, books, and prints arrived in Mexico. A year later, the remainder of the items arrived escorted by Manuel Tolsa, newly appointed director of sculpture at the Academy. In the case of the second shipment, 1791, we identify books that likely came from the Westmoreland, including works by Giovanni Battista Piranesi, such as Antiquità de Albano, Camini, and Campus Martius, as well as Raccolta by Giovanni Battista Barbieri, known as Il Guercino. Among the authors represented in the volumes that reached the Academy on San Carlos from the English prize ship is the Italian painter, engraver, and antiquarian Pietro Santi Bartoli, Perugia, 1735, Rome, 1700. He authored Admiranda Romanum Antiquatium. The title in English, Admirable Roman Antiquatius, and Vestige an Ancient Sculpture executed in an Aglyphic work. This 1693 publication reflects the harmony of classical reference and virtue captured by the artist in his engravings. The work expressed the pleasure of showcasing the artistic heritage to which Bartoli belonged and his delight in engraving the culture of his homeland. Another work by Bartoli present in the collection is Colonna Trajana. The title in English is Trajan's Column, erected by the Roman Senate and people, Imperator Trajan August in his forum in Rome. The engravings depict scenes from the Dacian Wars, including Trajan's two campaigns and victories over King Decebalus. This Italian language publication highlights the grandeur of the Roman Empire and the glory of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, regarded by many as the greatest Roman emperor. The engravings arranged in a helical sequence along the column shaft include more than 2,500 figures and imitates in Bartoli's work the ancient elegance of the originals. Another noteworthy publication is by Gavin Hamilton, 1723-1798. His title in English is The Italian School of Painting, or a selection of some of the finest work from the Italian School of Painters, carefully and diligently engraved. Printing in Latin, the work consists of 19 large double folio plates, 67 centimeters, showcasing the artistic legacy of Italy. Among the featured artists are Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, Veronese, and Annibale Carracci, figures who deeply inspired Hamilton. To conclude, I present an emblematic 18th century work, History de l'Art chez les Anciens. The title in English is History of the Art of Antiquity by Johann Joachim Winckelmann. The preface, signed by the author in Rome in July 1763, attests to his long residence in the city, where he would die 5 years later. A key aspect of his work is its translation for German and its 1766 publication in French by Chez Salin, located on Rue Saint-Jean-de-Beauvoir in Paris. Final reflection. The arrival of the 1791 shipment sent from the Academy of San Fernando to the Academy of San Carlos opens a vital path for studying the origins and provenance for the academic's bibliographic collection in New Spain. Understanding when, how, and why these works entered the collection offer the peer insight into the institution's artistic holding. One conclusion now evident is that some books originate from the Westmoreland. The English ship captured around the time Jerónimo Antonio Gil arrived in New Spain. 14 years would pass before part of the artistic cargo reached the first Fine Arts Academy in the Americas. The study of the bibliography provenance underscores the importance of recording the ownership history of cultural objects. Tracing the journeys, collectors, and repositories reveal how the meaning and uses this work have transformed over time. Thus, we can appreciate how pieces one acquired on travel souvenirs eventually become models of refined taste in the classroom of the Academy on San Carlos in Mexico. Thank you.